Hello everyone, this is Professor DK and welcome back to another episode. So in the previous episode, we saw how we can set up the cloud and also the app on the Tuya IoT platform. And now we'll be getting into how we can develop the Android app to control the device that we just configured on the cloud or any existing device that we already have that we bought off of Amazon or Flipkart that is Tuya enabled. Okay, and in my case, I will be showing the demo on an existing device that I have. So I'm using the Wipro Smart Bulb that I bought off of Amazon, and I'll be showing how you can use the Tuya IoT SDK to control the light. All right, so let's jump into how we can do that. Go over to app and go over to the we just created. We need that for the keys. All right, so go to get key. Okay, so we'll need this, so I'll just keep this open and we'll go to Android Studio and let's create a new project. Okay, I'm using Android 4.2.2, which is the latest version, and in case you guys have the older version, please upgrade and make sure you're on the latest one, so that whatever I do here, it should be mostly similar to you, and hopefully you do not face any errors, right? So click on empty activity and then click on next, and I'm going to call my application as my smart light, and here you need to provide the package name, and the package name is nothing but whatever we provided on the cloud. Just add that here and then uh, click on Java and then set the minimum SDK to API 21 in case it is something else, and then click on finish. Meanwhile, so I have added a link which shows you how you can create your own app for a light demo. Okay, so building a smart light app. So go ahead and click that link and it will open up this blog, and in this blog they have explained what all you can do using a smart light app. So you can have a timer, remote control, color adjustment, etc. And we have already done the step 2. So as part of the second step here, we'll need to edit the build.gradle file. I'll just show you how you can do that. Okay, so here you go. So we have the project ready here, and we'll need to add a couple of things in the Gradle script. So I'm just going to open up some of the folders here that are needed. So under build.gradle file, just go to the app level Gradle file and then open up the article here, and in this you will see that in the default config you'll need to add the NDK here, and I'm just going to do that. So add the NDK, and then after the default config you'll need to add the packaging option. So this is outside that. Just take note on where you're actually pasting stuff, right, so that you do not uh, just take note of where you're actually pasting. So it should be outside the default config. So add the packaging options there, and then under dependencies you'll need to add 3 different dependencies. So just copy that and then add it under here and then click on sync now. Okay, and apart from this, you will also need to add the JCenter repository to the project level build file. So just click on the other build file here, and it should already be there, but in case it is not, you can just add it here. I already had it, so I'm not going to add it again. And then we'll need to add the security image. Okay, so this is nothing but the app security image that you downloaded. Since I already downloaded here, I'm just going to copy this and then go over to Android Studio and paste it. Right now, you need to know where exactly to paste it. So if you go over in the article, you can see that we need to paste it under source main, and inside that create a folder under assets and then paste it under there. Okay, so where exactly is this folder, right? So I do not see any app or main, nothing like that. And that's because we are only seeing the app level file if you choose Android. So just change the view to project so that you see all the files under project, and under app now you should be able to see source, and under it you should be able to see main. Okay, so in mains we'll need to create an asset folder like it is mentioned here. So let's add, right click on it, click on new, click on directory, and you'll have the option here under that which says assets. Just double click on that and there you go, and just paste the BMP security image file that you just downloaded. We'll call this as t_s.bmp because that's how they have named it there, and you need to rename it that way, and then click on OK. Okay, so we have added the BMP file, and next you will need to add the app key and the secret key in the Android manifest file. So just go ahead and add that in the manifest. First you need to change it into Android, and then the manifest, click on Android manifest, and then make sure that you are pasting the line of code inside the arrow mark here for the activity, right? So inside main activity you want to add the metadata here. All right, and we need to change the app key and secret key with whatever was present on the cloud. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this, right? So copy the app key, paste it here, and then we're going to do the same with the app secret key. Just paste it here, and there you go, you have added the app key and the secret key as mentioned. And then finally you'll need to add a couple of things into the ProGuard rules file. So I'm just going to copy it, and then you can just paste it here. All right, so this is how you need to integrate the home SDK. And now that everything's done, we need to create our own application. So you can see here we need to initialize the home SDK and then work on it. So how do I create an application, right? So here main activity is an activity and it's not really an application, right? And what's the difference between the two? Main activity has its own layout file where we can define the UI and how it looks, and based on the interactions with the user, the main activity has certain functions which based on the user's interaction it will do certain things, right? But we want to create an application that will just run and do some initializations for us. So for that, just click on new Java class, and we'll give it the same name, which is Tuya Smart App, right? As mentioned here, the Tuya Smart App, and click on class, and there you go, you have the class. Just copy it and then paste it here. Okay, and then once you put the cursor on application, you can just click on Alt Enter, and that will import the application for you, and do the same for the Tuya Home SDK as well. You can see those packages being imported here. And next thing is the configure app ID and app secret in Android manifest.xml. We have already done that, or you can run the initialization code. But since I already done this in the Android manifest, I'm not going to use this. And before you exit the application, you can call the disable to disable the cloud connection. I'm just going to skip this, and finally in the debug mode, to enable any SDK logging, you can set the debug mode to true. So I'm just going to add this because we want the debugging mode to be on to give us any important logging information. And finally, it is to integrate the light control SDK. So before we do that, we need to first ensure that the home SDK is working fine, right? And what are the capabilities of the home SDK? So with the home SDK, you can log in the user onto the cloud platform, right, to ensure that we only have users who have access to actually control the devices and not just anyone. So Tuya Home SDK will let you do that, and Tuya Home will also allow you to get all the devices in your network, and you can see that on the cloud as well, right? So all that things you can do and for that we'll go over to main activity, right? So we want all that to be done in the main activity where we allow the user to log in. So how do I go from this application into the main activity? So for that we have the Tuya home SDK dot set on need login listener. Just type in that and then type in new, and you will already get the autocomplete. Just go ahead with the first option, which is I need login listener, and the code will be auto generated for you. And inside this you just need to call in start activity and create a new intent to your all right. Okay, so we are going from to your home not SDK, it is to your home app dot this to the to your smart app. Sorry about that. Yeah, so to your smart app dot this to main activity dot class. Okay, so what will happen is this application runs and then it is going to take us to the main activity after the initialization is complete. Now you'll notice that this is actually grayed out, which says that the application is never used, and this is because you have actually not declared this application to run. So you'll need to go over to Android manifest and you need to add a label here, which is Android colon name, and give it as dot to your smart app. Okay, so this is how you uh, add the option of running the application and then going over to your activity. Okay, so now if you go over to smart app, you can see that now it is highlighted and no longer gray. Okay, so we have created our Tuya home SDK, we have initialized it, and now we have to set the layout where we enable the users to log in. Okay, now you'll notice that it is so easy to log in the users with just some simple commands because of the Tuya home SDK. Okay, so you will just be writing 5 or 6 lines of code, and it is as simple as that. Okay, so let's go ahead and create our layout. So the first thing you want to do is add the edit text. So you can add in number first. So we want the country code. So add the number edit text, and you'll need to constrain it on all 4 sides. Okay, and then just drag it to the top, and we'll set this to ET country code. ET stands for edit text here, and country code is what we need to log in the user as well. So I'm going to add that, and at the bottom you'll need to provide a hint so that the user knows what exactly it's happening. So under hint you just need to add enter country code. Okay, so you can see that here now, and you can just extend it a bit so that we have sufficient room, and then just copy it, control C, control V. So once you paste it, you get another edit text here. Just drag it slightly below that. All right, and then you can set this to ET email because we want the email of the user. Just click on refactor, yes, and then change the hint to enter email, and we want to change this from input type number to email. Okay, so text email address, just click on that and click on apply. So you can see that it is now changed to text email address. All right, and again we want to control C, control V, and you can just bring that slightly below it, and we are going to call this as ET password. Again change the hint to enter password, and the input type to text password. Alright, click on apply. So we have the 3 input types, and now we need a button to log in. So for that, I'm going to add the button. So just drag the button to the center and then constrain it to the one above it, and then do the same on all 4 sides. Alright, and we are going to give the ID to this button as btn login. Click on refactor, and then we're going to change the text of this button to login. And finally, we'll need another button, so I'm just going to click on Control C, Control V, and you can just bring it slightly below this button itself, and we are going to call this button as register. Alright, so change the text to register, and the ID to btn register. Alright, and just extend the above button to make sure that it is aligned with the one below it, so that the width is the same. Okay, so there you go. We have 2 buttons for login and register, and certain inputs that are needed to authenticate the user. Alright, so now we'll go over to the main activity, and in main activity, create our views. So first, for the widgets, we have 3 edit text. So private edit text, and click on alt enter so that we can import the library, the package here. You can see that edit text package is imported, and we'll call our widgets the variable names as et email, et password, and et country code. Similarly for the buttons. Now let's create a function to initialize the views. So private void init views, and inside this we are going to bind the variables with their corresponding IDs in the layout. So et email is equal to find view by ID, r.id.et email. So okay, I guess there is something wrong here. I see email too. Let's go over and fix that. So in et email, let's okay. So I see that it's et email too. Change it to et email. All right, and then come back here, and okay, it's et email. Okay, so now that all the views are binded, we need to call this in our onCreate function. So we have initialized the views, and the next thing you want to do is actually allow the user to log in, right? So I'll just show you how easy it is. So just click on you want the user to log in on the login button press. So btn login dot set on click listener, and new on click listener. Just click on that, and inside the on click you want to first get the country code that has been entered by the user. So call the string as country code, and we'll use the widget dot get text dot to string. And okay, now to log in, it's as simple as calling the Tuya Home SDK, and we have something called get user instance. So each time you get the user instance, and then you need to log in uh, with email. Okay, now here you'll notice some things, which is you can log in with Facebook, Twitter, WeChat, and it has a host of options that you can choose from. Since I want to do it in a simplistic way, I'll just go ahead with login with email. You also have login with phone as well. So you can explore the options that you want. So first is the country code, add that. Next is the email, and finally it is the password. And we'll need to provide a callback and I'm going to call this as the login callback. Okay, do not worry if you do not understand what this callback is. We'll be creating it in an instance. Okay, so here you'll notice that the fourth option for login with email is a callback. Okay, and what this means is once you call the user instance and try to log in, this will send all these parameters to the cloud, and whatever result comes from the cloud, it is actually uh, it actually comes into this callback, and you will need to use this callback to determine if it was successful or not. So let's go ahead and create our callback. So private I login callback. The reason we are going with I callback login callback was because this parameter was that, right? So use the right callback here, and then login callback is equal to new I login callback. And inside this, you will see there are two options. One is in the first method, it is on success. So if the login is successful, what do you want to do? If it results in an error, what do you want to do? Okay. So here on success, obviously you want to direct the user from this app into another app where you can control the device properly, right? So for that, I'm just going to call this as first. I'm going to create a toast to show that the login was successful. Okay, I have a toast which says login successful, and then I'm going to direct the user to my app, my next app, and I'm going to call that as the home activity dot class. Now note that since it's not created, it's going to throw an error, so I'm going to now comment it for now. Just copy this toast message and add it under the error if the login fails. So for that, I'm just going to change this to login failed with error and then colon, and you can see here that they provide a string, so you can just print out the error to understand what is happening exactly. Okay, and in case you do not want to see this in the toast, you can also log this and see it in the debug window in the logcat, right? So you can do that as well. So we have the log.d option, and inside this you need to provide a tag and then the message itself, so which is okay. So this is the log, and you'll need to define a tag. So for that, just go over to the top and just add in, you can add in any string. So what this tag does is if you give it the tag of my smart light in the logcat, you can just search for my smart light in the logs when it runs. Okay, so in case there's a failure, you can just understand that the failure is coming from the app, and you'll know the exact line of code where it failed. Okay, so add the tag here, and the error is now gone. You can use the tag or a toast to indicate what happened. All right, so this is how you do it, and you can see here that I have just used one line of code, and I've just taken the input, and then you have successfully validated with the cloud if the user has logged in or not, right? So it's as simple as that, and this is why prototyping becomes so much more faster and easier, because Tuya IoT SDK already offers all of these functions easily to you. Okay, the next thing is if you want to log in, you need to first register the user onto the cloud, right? So you cannot directly log in. So for that, I'll need to create a new activity, and before that, I see there's some error here. Let's actually go to that error. Okay, so this is throwing an error because we forgot to add a semicolon here. The reason is that if you see here, we are actually creating an instance of this class, and inside that we have created our function. So since this is a variable, you need to end it with a semicolon. Okay, so do that and all the error should go away. So let's go ahead and now create our new activity. Again, it's going to be an empty activity, and call this as registration activity, and click on finish. And we'll also create another activity which is the home activity. So again, empty activity, and let's call it as the home activity. Okay, so we have created the home activity and we have also created our registration activity. So you can go to main activity and then just uncomment out that line. So now you see that there are no errors. Okay, so under registration activity, just click on the activity underscore registration layout. So here again, you're going to repeat the same process. So first thing is adding the edit text. So you need 3 edit text. So do the same thing. Okay guys, so I have completed the layout. So what you need to do is add the 3 uh, edit text. So you can see here that I've added these 3 like we did in the login activity, and you can see the IDs that I've given. So one is reg country code. Okay, so to distinguish between this and the one in the login activity, I've just added reg so that it to show that this is the registration activity. So etreg country code, etreg email, etreg password. So these are 3 edit texts, and then for the validate, I've called this as btn validate. That's the ID that I've given. And then the other edit text is to enter the verification code. So what happens is when you click on validate, the registration code, the verification code is actually sent to your email, and then you need to enter it, and that's how you register your account onto the cloud. All right. So that's why you'll add this edit text with the ID ET verification code, and the hint as enter verification code, and finally the register button, which has the ID btn user register. Do not put it as btn register because we have already used it in activity main. We do not want to confuse between the elements we are using in this and the ones in the other layouts. Okay, so make sure you name it as btn user register and add the text as register. So this is the layout for the registration activity, and let's actually go to the registration activity and write our code. Okay, so first we'll need to add all the edit text. I'm just going to create all the widgets. All right, so we have binded the variables with their corresponding IDs in the layout file, and we need to call init views like we did previously. And now first thing you want to do is in the layout, we saw that we have verification code and register, right? We do not want this to be available until the validate button is clicked, right? Only then the verification code will be sent. So first, let's set this to invisible so that this is not displayed. So to do that, we just need to call et verification code dot set visibility to view dot invisible. Okay, so we do not see that, and then even the register button is invisible until the verification code is sent. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is set the on-click listeners for all the buttons. So for the verification code, just set the on-click listener to new on-click listener, and then inside the on-click you want to add a couple of lines of code, which is first we'll get the registered email from the user. So how do I get the validation code, right? So for that, Tuya SDK basically provides an option of you know uh, sending the email verification code. So for that, let's create a new function which will do that for you. So get validation code, let's type that, and string country code comma string email. Okay, so to send the validation code, you only need the email and the country code. You don't really need the password. I'll tell you why. Because the reason I'm taking only two parameters is because the home SDK, if you see the function, you will understand what all parameters it requires. So obviously first you will get the user instance from the Tuya Home SDK, and they provide a function to get register email validate code, right? And in this you can see that it has only two parameters, country code, email, there's no password, and then there is a callback function. So that is the reason I have not added password. It's not that I knew it beforehand or something. It's because I've gone through their SDK, the API guide, and how the parameters are, and that's why I'm writing the functions that quickly. So it's just through experience. All right. So first thing is country code. So let's add the country code, then the email, and finally we'll need to create a callback for the result. So I'll just call it as validate callback. We'll need to create it, so that's why it's throwing an error. But anyways, let's call this function here, and let's pass in the country code, registered country code, and the registered email. Okay, and let's now create the iResult callback, which is what this is expecting, right? So it is iResult callback, and it is the validate callback is equal to new iResult callback. And again, it's the same thing where you need to add on error, on success. Make sure you add the semicolon at the end. So on success, you want to display a toast message, right? And the success here is nothing but successfully able to send the token. So and you can do the same logging functions that you added in this thing. You can do the same as well, so that you can see it while during debugging. So I'm just going to do that. I'm going to add that. And what do you do when it's successful, right? When verification is successful, uh, what do you do? So first thing is you need to show the two widgets that you hid, which is the ET verification code. So what you're going to do is, once basically now the verification code is sent, okay, now the user should enter that verification code, and then we need to validate if it's the right verification code, and then allow the user to go to the login activity. Okay, so for that we'll need to create an on-click listener for the button register. So set on-click listener, new on-click listener. Okay, I've done that. And here inside the on click, so what do we write, right? So we'll be making use of the Tuya SDK, obviously. So we'll need to get the registered email again. So I'm just going to copy that from there, and we need the registered password so that we can register the account. So first thing is you verify if the email account is right. On successful verification of email account, then you allow the user to register his account, and that's when you'll need the password. So that's why I'm taking the password here. And we'll also need the verification code that has been entered by the user. So you can put it as input verification code, something like that. And we are going to obviously use the Tuya Home SDK. You're not going to write any of the validation code or anything like that. So like I said, Tuya Home SDK get user instance, and then we have register account with email. All right, so register account with email, and we are going to pass in the parameters that are required, which is country code. So registered the registration callback. So just call it as register callback. Okay, so you can see the different options here, right? So country code, email, password, code, and then the registration callback. So again, create the callback here. And by now, I guess you kind of understand how the Tuya SDK works. So you basically have various functions. You just do user instance and call the various functions, and each of these functions expect certain parameters. And the way you understand if something worked or not is through callbacks. And the callback is necessary here is because it's actually communicating with the cloud, and once things work, it has to give that information back. And since it is asynchronous in nature, that's why you have a callback mechanism. Okay, and which callback do you need to create? It's the I register callback, as you can see. So I callback, and it's going to generate this, and on success, obviously you will take the user to the next activity. Okay, so I'm just going to copy this uh, toast and this thing. So here I'm going to change this to, and finally you want to direct the user to login, right? So start activity. Okay, and in case there's a failure, then you want to add registration failed, and you have to obviously remove the start activity. Okay, and since this is a variable which does a particular uh, thing, once the callback is returned, you just need to add the colon, semicolon here. Okay, so all right, so you have completed the validation, you have completed the registration of the user. Now just one thing I want to add is you could have another function which checks if it's a null string here, if it's an empty string, right? You can do further validation, you can check if it is following the email pattern or not and all that. So you could do any further validation if needed. But yeah, the from the Tuya SDK side, they anyway provide some validation code, and in case it does not follow the format, or if it's an empty string, obviously the validation code is not sent and it will result in a failure. All right, so this is the registration activity, and how many lines have you actually written? You can see that it's just 100 lines of code, and hardly anything to do with actual logic, right? So if you actually look at the logic that you would have implemented, it would have gone through multiple lines. But since we are using Tuya, it's just one line of code we are using here, and for the validation, verification code to be sent, there's another line. Okay, so as simple as that. Okay, and now in main activity, once the registration is successful, we have sent the user to home activity, right? So in the home activity, what do we do? So we need to detect the the devices that are on the network and then connect to it. So how do we do that, right? So first thing is we'll need to edit the layout. So for that, head over to activity home, and we'll be using a card view to display the light. You need to constrain it on all four sides. All right, and move it slightly up, and then we'll give it an ID which is card view. So it's called CV, and let's call it as CV device. Okay. Now note that since I'm just controlling one bulb, I've just added a card view for simplicity, and this card view will be loaded with just the device name, just the one device that I'm working with. Now in case you have multiple devices, obviously in a smart home you could have multiple devices. So in that case you would actually create a recycler view here, and then you will need to create another layout for the card view and then set an adapter that will load the recycler view and all that. Okay, but in this case for simplicity I'm just going to use one device, and the assumption is we are having only one device and just one card view that will be loaded. All right, so now to add something inside our card view we need to expand it. So once you see this icon, just pull it so that you can expand it, and the layout width should be match parent, so just change that to match parent. Okay, and height is whatever you extended it to. Okay, all right. And inside this card view you want an image view, and let's add the image later, but for now you can just choose something. All right, and you can just position it to the edge of uh, card view, and then you also need a couple of text views, right? So for that, add the text view, and you'll notice that if I try to drag it here, it's not allowing me, and it's kind of you know going and sticking to the edge of the layout here. So for that, click on code here. You can click on split as well. Either will work. So click on split, and here we'll need to do some modifications. So first thing is inside card view, type in relative layout, right? And choose match parent and wrap content. All right, and inside this relative layout we want to add the image view and the text view. Okay, so cut this and then add it inside this relative view. Okay, now to position the text view to the right side of this image, we'll need to add to right of. So give the id of this image view. So firstly let me change this image view to uh, im or iv, and I'll be calling this as icon. Okay, iv icon, something like that, and provide this id here, and you can see that now it's going to the right of the image. All right, and one thing you can also do is make sure that there is sufficient margin from the layout so that it doesn't just stick to the end of it. So you can provide some margin. So here I've just added 10 dp as a margin, so you can see that happening. But in case it's too much, you can just put it as 5 dp. Okay, and you can do the same for the text view as well. Just copy this and add it here. Okay, so next you'll need to change the text of this. So for that you can go to design, change the text view, the id as tv device name, right click on refactor, and then change the text to device name. Okay, so change it to device name. Sure, you have a okay, so put a colon there, and then you'll need to repeat the same. So let's go to split and add a couple more text views. Okay, so first you'll need to change the id, so call this as device id, and the third one will be the product id. So basically for each of the device you can get the device name, product id, etc. So we'll be adding these three just to show which device you are connecting to, right? And we'll have to add, okay, so add layout below and then give the ID of the first one, which is TV device name. Okay, so you can see that it is now below it, and then do the same for the next, which is to put it below this one, which is device ID. Alright, so you can see three different things, and now you can change the Android text here. So change this to device ID and this one to product ID. Alright, so as you can see here, we have three different device related information that you can mention. And next you will need a button to search the devices, right? So whenever the device is discoverable, we need something so that you click on that and the device is added here. So we'll do that. But one thing I noticed is this is also pushed to the end. So let's add some margin to the card view as well. All right, so I'll make it 10 dp. Okay, so it's now better, right? And you can add some elevation to your card view so that you get that shadow at the bottom. Okay, and the next thing you want to do is like I mentioned, add the button. So let's go to design and add the button here at the bottom. So constrain it with this card view and then constrain it on all four sides. Place the search devices to the end of the layout here, and you can change the button ID to BTN search. Okay, we'll call this as BTN search. Do a refactor and change the text to search devices. All right, and here you need to change the IDs if you didn't do it in the code, right? So we did it in the code, so that's why you see device name and then device ID and then you have product ID, right? So we have completed the layout. So now we need to add the variables and bind it with these um, widgets, right? So for that, again, follow the same process. Okay, so we have initialized all our devices and we have binded it. So we have initialized all the widgets and then binded it with the respective IDs called the init views function here. All right, and the next thing is obviously in the activity this thing should be disabled until the device is actually found, right? So for that we will play around with the background color and also make sure that it's not clickable. So cy device dot set clickable, will set this to false so that the user cannot actually click it, and it should be only available once the device is found. All right, and we can also set the background color to light gray so that we know that we have not yet found the device. All right, and okay, now the next thing is to actually create the home and then detect all the devices in our home, right? So for that we have something called as the Tuya Home SDK home. So get user instance dot create home option. So in the Tuya SDK we have something called as the home manager instance, and using that we can create home, and you can see here that it expects name, lat long parameters, and then the geo name, the list of rooms in the home, and then finally a callback. Okay, so for that what we will do is we'll create a function which will do this, okay, for us. So let's actually create a function called private void create home, and then you like you can see here, it expects the name, and also it needs a string which a list, right? It's a list of strings of the room names. Okay, so we'll need to pass two parameters, and rest of it is just the callbacks and other stuff. Okay, so for that, all right, and inside this we'll call this function. Okay, so a home SDK, and then we'll pass in the home name, comma the lat long. I'll just give it as 0, comma 0, the latitude and the longitude, and then you can set the geo name as a null or an empty string, and then we'll pass the room list, and we also need a callback function, right? So for that, create the callback function. So it is new I2ya home result callback. So you can call it here itself rather than creating it again. So I just called it as new I2ya result callback, and it's the same thing, right? So you have on success and on error. Now, what is this room list, right? So for that, we'll need to create a list. Under create view, just call create home, and then okay, we have not created the home name, so we can create some home name, and we can call this as my home, something like that. And let's add that here and call the room list. Now in the room list, it's empty, so we need to create the names of rooms. So for that, you can just create a string array and call it as rooms or something like that. And inside you can provide things like the kitchen, in as many things as you like. Okay, so this will allow you to control the devices in a specific room if needed. Okay, but in our case, you know, we won't really be dealing with the rooms, but it's necessary to pass this parameter. So I'm just going to hard code them. All right, so how do I add this rooms into this array list, right? So for that, you can just do room list is equal to new array list, and in the next line you can just do room list dot add all. Okay, so what this will do is it will create a new array list first of all, and then add all the rooms that we created here. The string array gets added into this room list, and that's how you can add it here. Okay, okay, so on success, uh, what you want to do is you want to retrieve the value here that you have got, right? So let's actually create our own home bean. I'll explain what this means. And so here, let me change this to current home bean. Okay, so basically this entire thing is sent to the cloud, right? And this home gets created on the cloud, and you can then use the returned values, the home that has been created, you can then use that. So what will be contained is you can have the device list in a particular home, the home ID, the home status, group list, geo name, etc., lat long of where the house is located, etc., right? So basically what you're doing here is creating the home on the cloud, and then once it's created, the cloud is giving you all the values of the home that has been created. So you will get the device list, lat long, and any other details of the house. Okay, so for now I'll just put it into our local variable, and you can add a toast message as well. So I'm just going to go to registration activity and copy one of the toast messages, creation fade, and I'll leave that to you to add the logging. So if you want to add the logging, you can do that. Okay, so the next thing that you need to do is actually detect the devices that are in your home. So for that, how do we proceed, right? So let's actually go over to Google, and let's type in Tuya SDK documentation, and that will actually give you information on the different APIs and how you can move ahead, right? So let's click on IoT app SDK here, and you can see here you have the IoT app SDK, the smart home SDK, and since we are using the smart home SDK, let's click on function overview here, click on Android obviously, and then here you can see it has support for user account management, home management, and also device control, right? And here if you actually click on user account, you can click on this and you can see here that it allows you to do the registration, right, like we discussed, and it shows all the overview of the function that it has, the different parameters. Similarly, if you go to home management, here what this allows you to do is get the home list, add, modify individual home, and get all the devices that are in the home, right? So let's go to home information. Okay, and this is what we are using, right? So I told you that we are using the home manager instance, and this is the reason for that. What this allows us to do, the home manager, is get the home, where it's located, the name, lat long, and device list, etc. And this is our focus. We want to get the list of devices in our house, and that's why we are doing this. So we have done the create home like they have asked. So we have reached the end of this video, and we have seen how login and registration can be implemented using the Tuya IoT SDK easily with just a couple of lines of code. And we have also finished some parts of the homepage activity. So the next video, which will be the last part of the series, we'll be seeing how we can discover the devices on our Wi-Fi network and then finally control it. This video is powered by Tuya IoT, where their motto is build the Internet of Things effortlessly, and that is what we witnessed today. So see you guys in the next video. If you like this video, make sure you give it a big thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe so that you don't miss out on any of my future videos. So thank you guys for watching, and until the next video, happy learning.